Oh well.
I'm not up to that just yet. My mana is gone.
I'll take that, thank you. Hmm. Okay. Canter Spiritus. Making that quick for me. It has like 2 leagues. Taking me forever to find that thing. Okay, so we got Vivid, Wild. No Primal. I've done it. I died. Don't care. I'm free. Too lore for us to get here. That's the first one. The other one is the Zaro. Yep.
There There is nothing eternal in this empire of ours, but the names of our day that shall be revered or reviled in the centuries to come.
Yeah. So after like I've been playing this game for over a decade now, and it just occurred to me when I was doing the lore with Hargan that these are all written by Victorio.
An emperor cannot allow himself to become buried in the shadowed vaults of self-doubt. Cannot allow thoughts of imagined disaster to spin about inside his mind like so many strife-splintered wheels. An emperor navigates his way through the terrors of perplexity with his eyes set firmly on the rising sun. Bear two blades, hope in the left hand, surety in the right.
That was weird. Alright. Door here. Then we just need to go to the battlefield.
I write this now in hope that someone will remain. Someone may remember. The sun is an orb of blood. Twisted twilight shrouds my eyes. The air reeks of anguish. San has plunged into nightmare. The man who served me coffee now writhes on the floor. He rants of visions he alone can see as writhing red tentacles grow from his face, as if his eyes had been seeds waiting to sprout. He is quiet now, my waiter. No more cackling and screaming. Dead. Of my fellow patrons, only two live. The others have fallen. Their blood is everywhere. The survivors, gemlings both, their skin shrivels and grays to the hue of necrosis. Their gems flare with unholy luster, their eyes black as hatred. A gemling ghoul, it twisted off a corpse's head, gnaws at skull-like dog. My head now, visions clawing at me. Thinking burns. I see horror. Envy the mute corpses at my feet. Words flay me, flee me. All is madness.
That's one of my favorite lore entries. I mean, like, it's extremely dark, but like it captures like the and before I was like, is there a name for what happened? And it was called the Cataclysm. I was like, it couldn't have been called the Cataclysm. That's just too obvious. Yeah, but like the Cataclysm, when Malachi unleashed that on Ray class, again, like that little lore entry, like is such a great like world building tool. Interesting. I don't think I've seen that effect before. I wonder if it's only for that kind of spider. Actually, we missed the lure thing. Oh no, there. Hey. And mind you, I want to do armor evasion, but for now, evasion is fine. We'll go and use an orb of alchemy on that when we get back to town.
The shadow whispers and simpers at the Monkey King's feet. When the Monkey King puts his back to the sun, it is the shadow that leads the way.
I finished the first book in a series called, actually, you know what? I don't think I know the name of the series. The first book of a trilogy where the first book is called The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Very good book.
That would only
Like if you enjoy the lore and like, you know, like if you're okay like with like much darker toned fantasy, like you know, what Path of Exile phrase, like that is a very good story to check out. Yeah, we definitely don't need that at our level.
Hello.
I mean, at this point, not bad.
Hello.
Not yet.
Watch yourself.
Have to kill Gravicius for gems I'm waiting on to be gettable. What resist wouldn't be a terrible idea. Would resist the chest. Fire 2. Now that would just use an Orb of Alchemy. No resistances. We're losing there, we're making up everywhere else. Alright. Drop the puncture. Poison. Vision. Add on. Our momentum, cross blades, attacks here, with chance to poison. Chest on. Gloves, which have done nothing for us. Well, don't have a replacement for the boots yet, but things are moving. Let's see. Do puncture. Better lightning damage. Hit. Don't need the cleave because we're going. This is a claw build. Can't use cleave with claws. Grab an extra puncture. Nothing for us to grab in terms of gems there. Not worth it to put claws on until we've proved our damage all around. Right now, the only damage that affects claws that we have is these two right here. Those two right there and these two right here. All damage that we at the very least have this set before I go over to claw.
Need something? Maramoa. I've heard that the Karui have this philosophy, Makanui, the way of the warrior. I don't think you could get any more Makanui than her. She took it upon herself to look after me before Tolman arrived. Saved my skin more than once. I'm fine with that. Beats being on her bad side. Hagen likes to think he was my kind old uncle back in Theopolis. Granted, the work he gave me saved my parents and I from starvation. This was after my father lost the family fortune at the card table, and we had to give up the manor in the country for a flea box in Theopolis. But he's not half as generous as he makes out. When Hagen gives you something, you can be damned sure that he's getting his pound of flesh in return. No one should have to go through what Grigor has. I help him as much as he'll let me, but he's a proud one, and so he should be. He's survived what has destroyed too many of us. Halfway across the world, and yet the tie between Vanilla and I endures. That was Piety's real name back in Theopolis, before her rise to greatness. Vanilla sold her thaumaturgy in the day, her body at night. Sought after, she was. Enough so to become one of my best buyers. But money never meant much to Vanilla. No, she was striving for something better, nobler. The used to tell me that life needn't be this hard. It's time you all realized that. I bet she fed Tommen the same bloody line. The blackguards talked about Piety's precious gems being infected with nightmare. Tommen, what did she do to you? Vanir was arrested for consorting with the unholy and condemned to the pyre. This was before the banishments. Dominus shared a last supper with her, heard her confession. Most think Vanir earned Dominus's patronage on her back. I don't. Vanir gave Dominus her better life and got a new name in return. You can count on one thing. Piety's grand future won't include the likes of you, me, or Tommen. On the fall of the Empire, the historians are deathly silent. After the Purity Rebellion, the Kingdom of Kalm blockaded Oriath, preventing any trade or correspondence with the mainland. It's said that Kalm planned to invade. Only when the Karui retreated did Oriath get any news from Rayclast. But by that time, there wasn't really anyone left to tell the tale. I know. So strange that stone and metal should move and live as you and I. Still, I read that Chitis's sculptors used to soften their materials with thaumatic sulfite, a byproduct of gem refining. It's the only connection that I can fathom between the Cataclysm and the living sculptures of Sarn. Chitis thought that the gemling was the pinnacle of human progress. These glorious gems have brought us within spitting distance of godhood, he once said. The High Templar at the time, Vol of Febris, thought they were a perversion. He wanted the Empire made pure, cleansed of the stain of thaumaturgy. You look at Sarn and tell me which one you think was right. And while you're out there, look out for monkeys. No, not those bloody monkeys from Frisia. These ones are painted on the walls. I think you'll find them enlightening.
Alright. Go and... to the docks.
I'm not up to that just yet.
Hey, finding awesome.
Your misery. I'm not up to that just yet.
You'll know, look. Back to what I was saying about Poppy War. Like, Poppy War is it's a fantasy series that's heavily influenced by actual, like, real-world conflicts between Japan and China during World War II. But but it's not in a modern setting though. Like, it takes place in more of not like Warring States era, but like one of those eras from China's history that, like, you usually see depicted as like high-ranking military officials who are also like majestically powerful, like swordsmen and stuff like that. Whatever that's called. I think I have enough space for that. Go. So, be near here. Not that way. Like the one, not gonna say complaint, but this criticism I'll give about it, like, it very much leans into like what what people like commonly call like misery porn. Like it, like, you know, like it's so dark that, you know, like it's almost comical in like how dark it gets, even though you know that the intention wasn't for it to be like satire.
The Monkey King names you slave. No. You are the gems of Wraith, not the treacherous stones you dig and die for. It is time to bend the Monkey King's ear. Tell him your true name.
I mean, like a lot of fantasy, like, you know, does delve into like super dark, goes super dark places, and some of the best fantasy does that. Just, you know, it's an acquired taste. Like, I don't expect like people who, remind you, you know, Path of Exile was super dark. So, like, if you like the story of Path of Exile, then you almost certainly will like that as well.
Now there's a familiar face. Before you say anything, yes, I did try to kill you. Inexcusable. I allowed pragmatism to overcome honor in a moment of desperation. Please accept my deepest apologies. What do you say? Can the two of us make a fresh start? Marvelous. Now, as you've clearly noticed, the Orflame has given me another respite from oblivion. Alas, it's a partial success only. I am neither man nor spirit, living nor dead. A state that comes with some rather frustrating restrictions. I know we've only just been reacquainted, but to put no finer point on it, I need your help. Interested, are we? Oh, splendid! In return, I have a gift or two that I may bestow upon you with a click of my translucent fingers. All you need do is furnish me with a crystal decanter and a juicy piece of fruit. Two humble items that remain agonizingly out of reach for a man in my peculiar situation. Will you look at that? The decanter spiritus. As exquisite today as when I found it all those years ago. You may fault the man, but you can't fault his craftsmanship. I'm sure you've heard of Malachi by now. Ever the heterodox, he sought otherworldly inspiration by imbibing a substance called ghost wine. For the purpose, he created the decanter spiritus. I found it on my last visit here. Liquid placed in this crystal decanter becomes quasi-apparitional in nature. I'm sure you can glean the decanter's usefulness to me. Conventional liquids simply don't hit the spot. I am one sorely parched revenant. I hid the decanter spiritus in the marketplace so as not to cause temptation for the less morally steadfast in my crew. Look to the carven heraldry there and find a lion dancing upon the waves. Emperor Chittus was stabbed in the posterior by his own Lord Mayor on the eve of the Purity Rebellion. Chittus's grieving gemlings buried him in the Imperial Gardens, and a plum tree was planted upon his resting place, so that his mourners might taste of his glory for years to come. I found that tree, and one of my men tasted its fruit. I've never seen so much agony crammed into such a brief moment. This may seem a peculiar request, but please bring me one of Chittus's plums. This current form comes with rather frustrating restrictions. It's a small improvement on my last incarnation, but I'm a man who used to poke his sticky beak into the furthest corners of the world. Now I can barely cross the road. It was no mean feat getting here from Siren's Cove, I can tell you. So here's the truth of it. I intend to sup upon my own death. Oh, fear not. The All-Flame will resurrect me, and with luck, will restore my full freedom. But for that to happen, I must die. And in such a manner as to excite the All-Flame to utmost ferocity. I am convinced that only the fruit of Chittus can provide a demise of sufficient tragedy. Life is full of painful choices, is it not? I visited Sarn some 30-odd years ago. Those ghasts, the Undying, you call them, scurried up from the sewers near the river and slaughtered all but a few of my most stalwart lads. Oh, they're a foul parody of humanity, those Undying. Nothing in common with a fine, upstanding revenant like myself.
And I'm very curious if in Path of Exile 2 they finally continue the story of Fairgraves, because I always found it odd that they added, like when they added Acts 5 through 10, that there was never any continuation to Fairgraves' story. But hopefully in Path of Exile 2, that's where they'll add something. As far as we're concerned, his story ended when when you got him the plum, the decanter and the plum. But everything he says to us suggests that the All-Flame will most likely have brought him back. And I know that you can fight Fairgraves in map, but map enemies don't count. Map enemies are basically phantoms created by Eternal Engine or whatever they call it.
You getting there? Come over here.
No boots just yet. All right. I'm gonna do it just because I really want to get like, the lore out of the way. There we go. I found her.
You may approach.
I finally found her. Oh, it took so long. Took so many attempts.
Welcome.
Alright, so one that the game crashed on or kicked me out on was the Porcelain Queen. Finished that one.
The King in the Mists was not the first to escape the realm of nameless nothingness. A great many seasons ago, a curious young man walked the wild wood on his journey elsewhere. He stopped at a waterfall and engaged in a flight of fancy, naming creatures that he imagined might exist unseen among the trees. He just so happened to picture a powerful mother from their shadow realm, and he foolishly gave her a name. It is not the Porcelain Queen, mind you. That's just a title. A few safe words to refer to her in a roundabout manner. The traveler moved on, but she emerged and brought her countless children with her. That young man was nobody important, and he surely died long ago. But his idle imaginings and his casual naming led to a tale of untold tragedy and pain that is still playing out even now. When the denizens of the Wildwood tell you not to use true names, they mean it. This was supposed to be a sacred realm of peace and prosperity for the Magi, and then too, for the rest of their people from your world. The Wildwood was meant to be a gift. A subtle sorrow creeps upon my heart when I think about what this place was supposed to be, but never achieved. Perhaps the Dreocht gave too much of themselves. Or perhaps nature simply has a way of growing and changing beyond anyone's control. It is still possible that the Magi recover in numbers and strength and reclaim the forest. But if they don't, such is the cycle of life and death. It is not my place to interfere. You know Einhar. He was actually the first person I ever met. My earliest memory is of running alongside him on a hunt, though I know not when it began, or from whence we hailed. Like waking from a dream and falling into one, both. And you know what else? He somehow knew my name. My real name, that I've never told anyone. He said he loved me. And I knew he meant it. All things considered, it's a treasure of a first memory to have. She does what she believes is best. That is the only true path for an individual that possesses free will. That's the heart of the Wild Wood, laid plain. Free will. If I were to help, I would be interfering. I hope she emerges triumphant, I do, but the victory must be hers. He does what he believes is best. That is all any thinking creature can do. I do not approve of his use of the dead, as prey should be eaten, not enslaved. But even the natural order has a shadow. I cannot begrudge the darkness, lest I begrudge the light. The Dreocht once gave the people of your world a special kind of wood, one which grows at the dark borders of this realm and the next. An unnamed heartwood, of a kind that even the trickster had no power over.
Alright. Finally done.
How goes it?
Might as well show her specialization. So this is the one, like a...
Greetings.
Well, I shouldn't just expect that people watching this have watched the presentation that introduced the league. So each of the league NPCs, so the Huntress, the Oathbreaker, whatever he's called, and the Warden, each of them give a special little skill tree. And along with the special little skill tree, they also offer items that you can purchase using this currency, or the wisps that you pick up as you're exploring, or things specific to the skill trees that they have. So for the Primal Huntress, she offers these little trinkets or charms. And the purpose of the charms is that if you choose her specialization, then you can take those charms and fit them into these slots. So if you get charms that do things that are specific to your build, then you can enhance your build by using a very customizable build route. Like, this is the one for people who really want to heavily customize their build. Like this is the specialization to take. For the Warlock, this one is all about, if you have parts of your build that are based on killing things, then you want to go Warlock. Because Warlock lets you take one consumes a corpse, but what I'm thinking of is that one. Because I guess one of the three that you get from here. Yeah, penance. If you take penance, then it'll start spawning enemies. So so you mark an enemy and it'll spawn extra enemies, so that if you have if you're in a fight where you're it's just a unique enemy with tons of health, and you need to be able to do something that requires killing an enemy, if you were to take this one, then the enhancement down here, a Foul Pact, give you a 50% chance to grant the Vol Soul. So if you were using a Vol skill in your build, and using the Vol skill was a big part of the way you do your damage, then this one would allow you to use that in situations that, for as long as the Vol skills have been in the game, weren't really feasible outside of just base farming. So these allow for entirely new play styles that didn't exist before. And then and also the whole corpse consuming thing. This one, like the item they sell are corpses that fit into the Ravenous skill that you see here, where if you consume a targeted corpse, you gain a buff that causes you to deal more damage to, take less damage from enemies of the same category. So he sells corpses that you can throw on the ground to get the specific Ravenous buff that you want. So this one sells charms to fit the slot in. This one sells corpses for their Blood Hunt skill. And the Warden of the Magi sells tinctures that if you go down this branch here, you can get Coated Blade, which allows you to use the tinctures. And so the tinctures are basically like, you put them in the potion slot, and when you turn them on, like instead of consuming charges like the flask do. Oh, and I should make this clear because a buddy of mine, he picked this one and was very upset by his choice. If you were to go down this route, this will not work for minion builds. It doesn't work for minion builds. It doesn't work for spell builds unless the spells that you're casting use your weapon in some way. You're going to get specifically for skills that use your weapon. But the tinctures, basically, they're similar to the charms. So they grant special benefits for when you're attacking an enemy that are usually something that you would specialize in one of the ascendancy trees or one of the really special nodes in the skill tree. Sorry, it took me a while to consider that not everyone who watches these things is caught up on current state of the game. But it's stupid on my part because that's the whole reason why I make Path of Exile content, is because I know those people exist. And that almost every other Path of Exile content creator doesn't consider those people exist. And if you're an anime fan, the Yu Yu Hakusho Netflix adaptation is actually so much better than I could have ever possibly. I don't know. Maybe it was because I was so negative about it when I initially saw all the initial press for it. Like, I was so down on that game, or not game, on that show from the very beginning. But maybe that, for that reason, I found it to be incredible. To me, that is the best anime adaptation of all time. I mean, Oh no. Damn it. Other lore stuff. There's other lore stuff. Damn you. Damn you. I thought I had gotten it all.
Welcome, traveler. You are safe here. The Viridian Wildwood is a gift to all of those with peace in their hearts.
I've got to look out for those things and remember when I'm doing my Viridian Wildwood video that I need to get these little... What? Let me go murder everything here. I need to go and mark the time. It's gonna go quiet for a second because I need to tab out. Gideon, I will welcome. Zone. Hours 54 minutes. Or 55 right now. Do that as a private message to myself in Discord, so I remember to go and grab that whenever I'm making that video. Actually, I should probably specify that it was in my Act 3. Ah. Can you attack me? No? Okay. Discord. God. If we can find our lady. Nope. We did not. And we got plenty of gems at this point. Need any more sacrifices?
Up to that just yet.
I'm gonna skip the Vols just because it takes too much time already to get through this. We're doing all of the the lore and Wildwood stuff. I mean, like, I'm costing myself potential upgrades, but I have to consider the time cost. Just primal this way. I don't want primal. I want vivid. Oh. Wasn't the... That was the exit. That was... that was the thing that illuminates the area.
I'm not up to that just yet.
I'm trading. I'll get the lore and then we'll talk to Diala.
Pretty as porcelain, but her mouth spins like the potter's wheel. That's how I once described Diala. Yet on this day, my lady is as ravishing as a nightmare, radiant as the fullest moon. Diala is my gemling queen, and we shall rule side by side over the world that will soon come to be.
We may just discover the truth of this world.
Tear down the walls that imprison the mind. That is what the gems do. That is their true virtue. The moment my fingertips brushed the cool, silken plains of that first gem, I felt it. My skull ached as if those contents were growing, pressing against the bone, searching for a way to break free. That night, once the wine had dulled the pain enough to allow the onset of sleep, the dreams began. I have not been without them since, nor would I be. Every spark of thaumaturgy that I wield, every device that I forge, every creature that I transfigure, I owe to these lessons cloaked in nightmare. From whence do these precepts hail? Certainly not the mundane grey between my ears. I possess only one reference that bears faith. Translated with unquestionable clarity by that idiot savant, Isius Perandus, the beast. Doriani of the vow knew the truth. Soon now, so shall I. Malachi. I awoke, feverish and barely conscious. I set to drawing these maps through the sable hours. By morning my fingers ached, my eyes burned, yet still I found no rest. The reverie commanded its rendering. The reverie device now stands completed. I've placed the first of my maps within its receptacle. I've taken my maiden voyage into nightmare. I know now that which sent me this precious gift. It knows me, expects my return. It would be foolish to disappoint. Malachi.
Alright. Diala time. Diala.
You are not a cockroach. Strange. Inundated with cockroaches I am. Black ones, forelimbs, nasty, spiky things. Are you spiky? If so, my ribbons will pluck your spines. Malachi liked spines. Liked my spine. Pretty spine. Bejeweled and bountiful. Enough to make an empire weep. Do you weep, not a cockroach? I do. Tears are infinite. Why, on this very day I found a new reason to cry. What is that you have? Not a cockroach? My ribbons spool. Those black ones wanted them, my ribbons. Wanted to wrap the city in black ribbons. Now they are my ribbons forevermore. Forevermore. I hate forever. I could tear happy ever after from bards' bleeding tongues. You're still here, not a cockroach. Oh, gratitude, yes. I should give you a token. Token? What token? This? Is this to your liking? The cockroaches will come again. They want the twist. That cockroach emperor. The other bugs shout his name. Ravisius. Cross the river, squash the emperor cockroach in his nest. The bridge. It is barricaded. That spawns a tricky question. Questions. Questions. I ask too many questions. Chit has told me so. I ask asked where it all went, our feculence. He made them show me. Under the river, the sewers from this side to that. Filthy, fetid tunnels like a rower's cloaca. A black place, crawling with the undying. Once beautiful and arrogant gemlings, now the foul waste of the Empire. Fitting, isn't it? Apt. 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 I like you, not a cockroach. I like that you listen. It would annoy me if the Undying murdered you. Formetic sulfite. That's what you need. You have some already. You are a resourceful humbug now, aren't you? Give it to me. I was all eyes and ears when Malachi worked. I will make something of your formetic sulfite. I will forge an infernal talc that will bring the most furious of light to the undying darkness. A dash of arcanity, a pinch of insanity, a whisper of profanity, and the infernal talc is now ready. It's the most explosive of powders. A sprinkle, the gentlest of dustings of infernal talc will provoke gems to a molten rage. For the undying, the very sun will rise within their flesh. They will burn for their sins, not a cockroach. They will burn. I loved Malachi. He gave me gems, divine jewels for his gemling queen, for his dead queen. But I didn't want me dead. Malachi begged. For him, for the Empire. I chose me. Selfish me. The Empire died, and I live. I live, and live, and live, and live. I was the Emperor's favorite for a time. But Chitus had many favorites. He filled the scepter of God with favorites. Every now and then, he cleared away the clutter. Those who pleased him, they were given to his lords and generals. Those who did not were given to his thaumaturgists. I talked too much, asked too many difficult questions. I was gifted to Malachi, my dear, troubled Malachi. You may go.
Thanks for the help, Diala. Alright. Got these off.
What's up? Good luck to you.
Might be high enough level for the next one.
You getting by?
Yep.
Hello. You're right.
No boots yet.
Stay out of the shadows. They bite.
Bring me back something nice, huh?
What is it? Traversing the sewers under the river. I should have thought of that myself. Yet, the more of a picture you paint of that undying concoction in the sewers, the less I want to see it. If you manage to destroy it, expect a storm of undeath to descend upon you. The dark is their home, and there'd be nowhere more homely to the undying than a pitch-swathed drain under a river. Goodbye?
What is it? You find a high enough spot and you can see the Lunaris temple over the river, at the western edge of the city. Since the blackguards arrived, the clouds above that temple have been stained with the blackest of smoke. You can see it sometimes when the westerly blows. It stinks worse than death. Be careful.
The Gemling Queen? She's impossible. How did she survive? Why is she not one of the Undying? No, these questions can wait. There's a more pressing one. Is she safe from the Ebony Legion? You've been busy. With the spool back where it belongs, the Ribbons should be able to keep the Ebony Legion at bay. We've both seen what they can do to a man. Whether you were saving your own skin or thinking of others, it matters little to me. You succeeded where I did not. You have stood in the presence of the Gemling Queen. I can only hope to meet her in my nightmares. Piety's a genius, sculpting mere human clay into divine gemlings. At least, that's what she told me when she opened me up and buried a virtue gem in my entrails. Malachi did the same in the name of the Emperor centuries ago. Chittis's gemlings still rule San. We call them the Undying now. Now you must leave.
Okay, so it can spawn down here. It was just happenstance that it didn't spawn before. Finally turn it in. Anybody else? Okay.
You carry an aura of vivid energy about you. You are ready to learn more. Oh, the Breaker of Oaths, I understand. He is motivated by his morals, however misguided they may be. The Primal Huntress, on the other hand, lives without apparent meaning or purpose. We could sorely use her strength against the King in the Mists, but she refuses to aid us. What kind of woman stands by while evil overtakes her home? Let us not speak on the Breaker of Oaths. His title makes it clear what he is. A traitor. He was raised a Magi like me, but he chose to abandon his vows and embrace forbidden and evil magics. He seeks to fell the King in the Mists, which I can approve of. But after that, I don't trust him. The enemy of my enemy is only my friend, for now.
Like, if I can get one that has the bottom one from this and the top one from this, and that would be very nice. I mean, it wouldn't be like a huge thing for my build, because I'm not really a lightning damage build, but you know, the fact that all damage can shock and you get extra mana regen, increased mana regen if you've shocked enemy recently, that's a nice little combo. Yep, we have new points. New wildwood points. Invest them here. Wisps, and now we can apply tinctures. I think I want to go this way. I mean, depending on the tincture we end up using, we'll decide whether we go this way first or this way first.
Tools against evil.
Here. Now we get an okay amount of mana back when we hit and we shock enemies. Alright. Go flame that butthole. And it is gone.
We may just discover the truth of this world.
Yeah, so I have no interest in doing the League mechanic for the time being, but finally have access to the tinctures. I'm sure it'd be nice to find her to potentially get a better tincture from her, but it took so long to get her to show up again. I hit the thing here, right? Yeah. Okay. Archivicius, do this.
This world to man, not to you, little girl. I fought for God. Who do you fight for, Exile?
Without men like you, Gravicius, this land might just start healing itself.
At 100. 55 might be pushing it. Won't do that upgrade.
I'm not up to that just yet.
Now, finally do this one, which doesn't really do much for us right now, other than give us some dexterity and some dexterity and a little bit of evasion. Grab this one. But we complete our Tendency trial. A lot more for us. Posterity, let's look at defenses. Now we are at 48%. 48% with 15% spell suppress. Please let us find the plum early this time. It just occurred to me that I could have been using my build already. Well, part of my build already. Actually, could I have? Actually, possibly not.
A leader cannot simply stride forward into the future and expect his people to be able to follow. A leader must look over his shoulder so that he can witness and understand the consequences of the path he has chosen, to ensure that his people are still with him, to ensure that he has not become lost. An emperor must know precisely where he stands.
The plum, and then we can go into the library. Plum. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Plum. There he is. Okay. Straight to the library. Got a very good roll on this one. Yeah, I'm not going to go after that guy because it'd be going out of our way to get him.
I'm not up to that just yet.
The Ancients. Book 3. The Queen's Thaumaturgus. In a culture festooned with gems and steeped in thaumaturgy, Doriani must have had quite the exceptional mind to rise to such preeminence as he did. Or perhaps he was simply more ruthless than his counterparts. Such is the impression one tends to garner from the accounts written of events following Zerfi's death. That Zeri's orders are quoted in a number of different texts. Doriani was to make any effort within the realm of possibility and to act without fear of question or consequence, and to what Doriani expected to apply this supreme effort, the investigation of Zerfi's longevity into unending vitality. There is particularly chilling manifest containing endless lists of names, page upon page, the names of young men and women, ranging from age 16 to 26 and to... No. Going too fast, I can't read it all. I'm not putting that in the archive. Goes too fast and I can't read it fast enough. Hey, Saucy.
Please, do not be alarmed. I am neither monster nor murderer, though that is the duality of existence that defines San these days. My name is Yosafuama, and I have the bleak honor of being the sole scholar to the Imperious Intellection, this grand repository of knowledge you see about you. May reason preserve us. More mundane circumstances, it would be preposterous to ask this of you, an utter stranger, but given that I don't know in which century I might see another pair of flesh and bone hands, there's a door, you see, concealed behind the shelves. It leads into the archives. That's where Isius Perandus concealed his golden pages. Can you see how maddening that would be for me? No, of course you can't. Ridiculous of me to... Suffice to say that they are beyond my reach. 4 Varlish texts they are, of priceless historical insight. Please, find my friend's golden pages and bring them to me. You will be rewarded. I vow it before the ancestors. It is the Karui way to observe nature in nature. The fish without the sea is no longer a fish. It is dinner. The Eternals did not see it that way. An Eternal catches the fish, guts the fish, preserves the fish, and places it in a box. Only then does the Eternal feel he truly understands the fish. It was a Karui Motiata that discarded my failing body of flesh in favor of canvas and oil. An ancient song and a momentary lapse in judgment that I've had more than enough time to regret. Fortune favor you.
Yeah, like Siosa has always been like a very fascinating character to me, because like he represents a part of Karui culture that you only see when talking to Siosa. Because like any other Karui you speak to, like you never hear anything about, like, you know, them, like any pursuits of a scholarly nature, like, you know, exist in like a tribal sense, you know, like it's like, you know, like they're shamans and such. But like, you know, when you talk to Siosa, it's like, oh, again, there's more to Rui society than what you learn by being a marauder, what you learn by talking to Marmoa, more than what you learn by talking to the ancestors during the trial of the Ancestors League.
I'm not up to that just yet.
More than you learn from the in the Karui, like rocks or whatever that you on the beat, Act 1. For whatever reason, the devs only chose to represent that part of the culture with Siosa. I mean, the Karui created spirit paintings. Like, you know, they created immortality through forging someone's spirit into a painting. And this tincture is so good for our upkeep. Like now, the only time that we need our mark is for like prolonged battles. By the way, like something that like I keep meaning to mention about the like the NPCs for this league that like I think is really cool, but every time I like I want to talk about it, like something happens that distracts me. Like each of the NPCs represents an extreme from I'm trying to remember what the word is for it. Like when you... Alignment, there we go. Like they represent like an extreme of like the alignment systems from tabletop role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons. So like the warlock dude is lawful evil. The